I never thought telling the truth could hurt this bad. My name's Jamal Carter, and that day, in the packed high school gym, I felt the weight of the world crashing down on me. It was just some dumb school assembly. The teacher asked us to share what our parents do. When my turn came, I stood tall. My mom's a judge. Pure pride. But then I heard it, the laugh, not from my friends, not from my classmates, from the teacher. Mr. Douglas, the new guy with glasses sliding down his nose, laughed like I'd told a joke. A judge? You? Come on, kid. His voice cut like a blade. The other kids started laughing too, some not even knowing why. My eyes burned, but I wouldn't let a tear fall. Not there, not in front of them. I'm just a black kid, 16 years old, living in Philly, trying to get through high school without standing out too much. But right then, in that gym, I was the center of everything. By the time the bell rang, a video of that moment, Mr. Douglas pointing at me, laughing, was on everybody's phone. Son of a judge, yeah right, someone posted with clown emojis. Each notification hit like a punch to the gut. I wanted to scream that it was true, that my mom, Angela Carter, stayed up late reading case files, that she wore that black robe like it was armor. But who was going to believe me? To them, I was just Jamal, the kid with the worn-out backpack and scuffed-up Nikes. At home, I tried to act like nothing happened. Sat on the couch, scrolling my phone, ignoring the messages. My mom wasn't back from the courthouse yet. She always got home late, her hair in that perfect bun, carrying a tiredness she never admitted. I hung her coat in the closet, like always, and saw her judge's robe hanging there, crisp and real. It was real. She was real. So why did I feel like a liar? Why did it feel like I had to prove who she was, who I was? My best friend Maya knew something was up the second she saw me. She's like that, doesn't miss a thing. She showed up at my door, her hoop earrings catching the light, her eyes saying, "Spill it, Jamal." I let it all out, the words tumbling, full of anger and shame. They laughed at me, Maya, laughed because I told the truth. She didn't say anything at first, just looked at me, like she knew exactly how it felt. "You don't owe nobody an explanation," she said finally. "But if you want, I'll help you show them who your mom is." I didn't know what she meant, but the way she said it, with that fire in her eyes, made me think maybe, just maybe, I could turn this around. If this story's hitting you so far, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot and keeps stories like mine coming. That night, lying in bed, I heard my mom's keys at the door. She was exhausted, but she smiled at me like the world was light. I wanted to tell her everything, the pain, the anger, the video that wouldn't stop spreading. But I couldn't. I didn't want her to carry this too. Deep down, though, I knew this wasn't over. Something bigger was coming, and I wasn't ready. The next morning felt like walking on broken glass. I woke up to my phone buzzing, notifications popping off like fireworks. That video from the gym was everywhere. Son of a judge. Yeah, right. With clown emojis, laughing gifs, memes with my face. Every comment was a kick to the chest. Who does this kid think he is? A judge? More like make-believe. I wanted to delete it all. Delete me. But you can't erase what the world's already seen. At school, the stares followed me down the halls. Whispers, snickers behind hands. I kept my head down, my backpack tight against my shoulder, trying to disappear. It didn't work. Mr. Douglas didn't let up. In history class, he called me to the board. "Jamal, since your mom's a judge," he said, dragging the word like it was poison, "tell the class what justice means." The room erupted in laughter. My fists clenched, but my voice stuck. I mumbled something about laws, right and wrong, but every word came out weak. He smirked, satisfied, and dismissed the class. I sank back into my seat, my face burning. Justice? Right then, it felt like a sick joke. I just wanted to vanish. But Maya wouldn't let me. At lunch, she pulled me to a corner of the courtyard. You can't let this guy break you, Jamal. Her hoop earrings glinted in the sun, her voice steady, like she believed in me more than I did. Your mom is who you say she is. They're the ones who got it wrong. I shook my head, exhausted. Nobody believes me, Maya. It's my word against the world. She crossed her arms, that stubborn look in her eyes. Then we prove it. I didn't know how, but her voice made me want to believe. At home, my mom still didn't know. She got in late, as usual, her shoulders heavy but her smile bright. You good, baby? She asked, kicking off her shoes. I forced a, yeah, I'm fine, but my chest was tight. How could I tell her? How could I say the world was laughing at me because of her? I locked myself in my room, trying to drown out the notifications, but they kept coming. Every message, every meme was a reminder. To them, I was a liar. Maya didn't give up. She showed up at my place again, this time with a plan. I know where your mom works, Jamal. The courthouse ain't that far. I frowned. What's your point? She grinned, that grin that said she'd already made up her mind. I'm saying the truth don't need likes to be true. She pulled out her phone, showed me a news article about a big case my mom was handling. Look at this, Jamal. Angela Carter, judge. Right there, in black and white. My heart raced. It was real, of course it was. But why was it so hard to make the world see? Things got worse at school. Late in the day, a fight broke out in the courtyard. A younger kid, Kevin, was getting picked on by some older guys. I stepped in, just trying to break it up. But someone called security, and suddenly a cop was in my face. Officer Reed, tall, blonde, with a stare that sized me up before he even spoke. Name, he barked. I gave it, trying to stay calm. Trouble, kid? He glanced at my beat-up Nikes, my old backpack. I was just helping Kevin, I said, but he wasn't listening. You're that kid who says his mom's a judge, right? His tone was pure mockery. Where's she at then? Shouldn't she be bailing you out? My jaw clenched. I didn't say a word, but inside, everything was screaming. I didn't know what that cop wanted, but the way he looked at me like I was nothing stuck in my head, and something told me this wasn't the end. I never thought a pair of handcuffs could feel so heavy, not just on my wrists, but on my soul. When Officer Reed took me to the precinct, every step felt like it was pulling me further from who I was. The police radio crackled, and he didn't even look at me. Just muttered something about kids like you always stirring up trouble. I wanted to yell that I didn't start anything, that I was just trying to stop a fight in the courtyard. But my voice stayed stuck, swallowed by fear. They said I escalated the fight, got in the way, even resisted when Reed grabbed me. Lies. But who was going to believe me? At the precinct, the fluorescent lights buzzed loud, and the smell of stale coffee choked the air. I sat in a hard chair, hands cuffed, my heart pounding like it wanted to break free. Name, Reed said, not looking up from his paperwork. Jamal Carter, I answered, quiet. He laughed, that dry, cutting laugh I already knew. The judge's kid, huh? Where's she at now, kid? I swallowed hard. She's a judge, Angela Carter. My voice shook, but I wasn't backing down. Not this time. Reed leaned in, his badge glinting like it meant to blind me. Really? 'Cause I don't see no judge here, just a kid with a big mouth and a bigger story. He scribbled something, and every stroke felt like it erased me a little more. You're in trouble, Jamal. Disorderly conduct, resisting arrest. Better drop the tall tales. Tall tales? My mom wasn't a story. She was my anchor, my proof I could be more than they saw. But in that cold room, I started to doubt. Was I really who I thought I was? Meanwhile, Maya didn't stop. I didn't know it, but she was at home, pacing, her hoop earrings swinging as she dialed the number for my mom's office. She'd gotten it from my house phone once, back when we were kids. This is Maya Rodriguez, she said, her voice firm but shaking. I need to speak to Judge Angela Carter. It's urgent, about her son. The assistant on the line hesitated, But Maya didn't back down. "Please just tell her Jamal's in trouble. He's at the precinct." She left the message, her heart in her throat, hoping it would reach my mom. It did. My mom was in the middle of a case when her assistant slipped her a note. Her face changed as she read it. She excused herself, stepped into her office, and called Maya back. "What happened?" she asked, her voice sharp with worry. Maya spilled everything. Mr. Douglas, the video, the arrest. My mom didn't wait. She grabbed her coat and headed out. Back at school, things were getting worse. Mr. Douglas heard I'd been arrested, and instead of letting it go, he doubled down. "Figures," he said in the teacher's lounge, loud enough for others to hear. "That kid's always looking for trouble." Some of my classmates, the same ones who laughed in the gym, spread the word. The video of my failure now had new captions. "Judge's kid arrested. How ironic." I wasn't there to see it, but every word reached me, like the whole world wanted to crush me. In the precinct, time dragged. I was in a small holding cell, the bench cold against my back. I stared at the bars, thinking about my mom. She always told me to keep my head up, to never let anyone make me feel small. But there, with the cuffs still marking my wrists, I felt tiny. Did she know yet? Was she coming? Or was I alone in this? My head spun, mixing anger, shame, and a flicker of hope I didn't want to let die. I didn't know it, but my mom was already on her way. She wasn't just coming as a judge, she was coming as my mom, and she wasn't going to let this slide. But me, stuck in that cell, I didn't know any of this. All I felt was the weight of the world, and one question that wouldn't leave my head. How do you prove who you are when no one believes you? The cuffs were off my wrists, but their weight still clung to me. When my mom walked into the precinct, the air shifted. I was sitting in that hard chair, my heart racing, and then there she was, Angela Carter, my mom. Not the judge, not yet. Just the woman who always told me never to bow my head. Her face was calm, but her eyes said everything. Anger, pain, love. "Jamal," she said, her voice steady but trembling just a bit. "You're okay now." Officer Reed stood there, his badge shining less, his face tightening as he checked his papers. "Mrs. Carter, Judge Carter," he stammered, like the words hurt to say. My mom didn't answer. She just looked at him, and that look was heavier than any words. I was free, but I didn't feel it. In her car on the way home, the silence was thick. I wanted to spill everything, the gym, the video, the laughs, Mr. Douglas, the cop. But the words stayed stuck, like telling her would mean admitting I'd failed. My mom took my hand, squeezed it gently. "You're not alone, Jamal," she said. "You never will be." I wanted to believe her, but the shame still burned. How could she carry the world and still have strength to carry me? Back at school, the rumor mill was churning. Maya returned to the courtyard, her hoop earrings swinging, fire in her eyes. She heard the whispers, saw the stares. Some kids, the ones who laughed at me, were starting to waver. The video was still out there, but something was shifting. A kid, Marcus, posted in the school group chat, "What if Jamal's telling the truth?" Maya jumped on it. "Of course he's telling the truth," she said loud in the middle of the hallway. "Y'all know Judge Angela Carter? That's his mom." Some laughed, but others stopped to listen. Maya wasn't backing down, and this was just the start of something bigger. But not everyone was ready to change. Mr. Douglas found out I was released, and instead of letting it go, he doubled down. "That kid needs a lesson," he said in the teacher's lounge, his voice dripping with venom. He pushed the school to take my case to juvenile court, talking about disorderly conduct and disrespect for authority. I didn't know it yet, but he was digging his own grave, because my mom wasn't just a mom. She was Angela Carter, the woman who made the system shake. The next day, my mom called me into her home office. It was a small room, stacked with law books, papers everywhere, a gold pen she never used. "Jamal," she said, sitting in her chair, her bun still perfect even after a long day. You're gonna have to face a juvenile court hearing. They're trying to pin that fight in the courtyard on you." My stomach dropped. Court? Me? "But I didn't do anything," I said, my voice breaking. She looked at me, steady. "I know, and that's why I'm gonna be there. Not as a judge, but as your mom. I've already called a lawyer friend, and I'll make sure they hear the truth." My heart stopped for a second. My mom, in court, fighting for me? "You can do that?" I asked, confused. She nodded, the weight of the world on her shoulders. "I'm not letting anyone hurt you, Jamal. Not while I'm here." I didn't know what to feel. Pride? Fear? Both at once? Maya showed up at our place that night, like she knew I needed her. "You see what they're saying at school?" she asked, showing me her phone. The school group chat was split. Some still backing Mr. Douglas, others starting to question. "They're gonna see, Jamal," Maya said, with that smile that lit everything up. "Your mom's gonna show them." I wanted to believe her, but the thought of court scared me. I saw my mom as my hero. But what if the world didn't? What if, even with her there, I was still just the kid nobody believed? I didn't know what that courtroom would bring. But deep down, I felt it. This wasn't just about me. It was about all of us. The courtroom felt bigger than I'd imagined. Not just a building, but a weight. I sat there, on a hard chair, my heart pounding so loud I swore everyone could hear it. The room was packed. Kids from school, teachers, even people from the neighborhood I didn't know, all staring at me. Mr. Douglas was there, front row, with that smug look like he'd already won. Officer Reed, next to him, fidgeted with his badge, reminding everyone who he thought he was. I wanted to disappear, but then my mom walked in, Angela Carter. Not the judge today, but my mom, standing tall by my side. The air shifted when she entered, her presence like a storm waiting to break. And then the judge walked in. Judge Harris, my mom's colleague, a tall man with a calm but firm demeanor. He took the bench, and the hearing began. I didn't know how my mom stayed so steady. Standing there, not as a judge but as my defender, her eyes sharp, her voice clear. Judge Harris called Officer Reed first. Reed told his story, that I started trouble in the courtyard, got aggressive, resisted arrest. Every word was a lie, twisting tighter around my chest. My mom stepped forward, her voice cutting through. "Your Honor, where's the evidence? Officer Reed claims my son escalated a fight, but where are the witnesses to back this up?" She pulled out her phone, showing screenshots of the school group chat, posts mocking me that Reed had seen before the arrest. "These show bias, Your Honor. This officer acted on prejudice, not facts." Reed shifted, his face red, stammering as Judge Harris pressed him for details he couldn't provide. Then came Mr. Douglas. He took the stand, adjusting his glasses, talking loud like he owned the truth. "Jamal's disrespectful, always seeking attention," he said. "Claimed his mom's a judge, but I doubted it." My mom's eyes locked on him, and he froze, realizing who she was. "Mr. Douglas," she said, her tone ice cold. "You mocked my son for telling the truth about me. You incited bullying based on your own assumptions." She turned to Judge Harris, presenting a video from the gym, sent by Maya, showing Douglas laughing at me. The room went quiet. Douglas's face burned red, his smugness gone. Maya was next. My friend. My rock. She took the stand, her hoop earrings glinting, her voice steady but shaking with emotion. "Jamal didn't start that fight," she said. "He was protecting Kevin, a kid being bullied, and everyone laughed at him for saying his mom's a judge. He never lied." She looked at me, and I felt a lump in my throat. Then Kevin took the stand, nervous but brave, confirming I was trying to help him, not hurt anyone. The room listened. Some kids lowered their heads, ashamed. Even Marcus, who posted that comment at school, looked sorry. My mom stood again, her voice strong but calm. Your Honor, this case is built on lies. There's no evidence my son did anything wrong, but there's plenty of evidence of bias against him, against me, against who we are. I'm asking this court to dismiss the charges, and I'm requesting an inquiry into Officer Reed's conduct. Judge Harris nodded, his face unreadable. He reviewed the evidence, the videos, Kevin's words. Then he spoke. For lack of evidence, the case against Jamal Carter is dismissed. He's cleared. A clap started, soft at first, then grew. My eyes welled up. It wasn't just about being free, it was about being seen. For the first time, I felt the world knew who I was, who we were. But that moment, that applause, wasn't the end. Something bigger was still coming. Block 6, impactful and emotional resolution. The applause in the courtroom still rang in my ears, but it wasn't the end. It was the start of something new. When I walked out of that building with my mom by my side, the Philly air felt different, lighter, like I'd left a piece of the weight behind. But the truth is, the world doesn't change in a snap, and I knew there were still scores to settle. Not for revenge, but for justice. For me. For my mom. For everyone who's ever been looked at like they're nothing. Back at school, things started to shift. Not overnight, but bit by bit. Mr. Douglas showed up at the next school assembly, standing in the same gym where it all began. He adjusted his glasses, his face red, his voice low. "I was wrong about Jamal Carter," he said. "I doubted his mother was a judge, and I judged him without knowing the truth. I'm sorry." The room went quiet. Some kids looked at the floor, others at me. I didn't feel anger toward him then, just relief. Because he admitted he was wrong, not just about me, but about my mom, about who we are. It wasn't just my win. It was a crack in the wall for every kid like me, carrying truths the world refuses to see. Officer Reed didn't have that kind of courage. I heard his investigation was moving forward, with talk of disciplinary action. I don't know if he'll lose his badge, but the whispers around the precinct said he was on thin ice. Social media, which had crushed me before, was telling a different story now. The gym video was gone, replaced by posts about my mom. Judge Angela Carter stands up for son in court. Kid proves his mom's a judge and shuts down haters. I read them, and a lump rose in my throat. Not from shame, but from pride. Maya was the one who made it all turn around. My friend, who never gave up, who called my mom's office when I was stuck in that cell. I had to give back. Some kids at school started whispering about her, saying she was too loud for standing up for me. I wasn't having it. In the courtyard, I stood up for her, loud and clear. "Maya's the realest person I know," I said, staring down the whispers. She had my back when nobody else did. She looked at me, her eyes shining, and gave me that grin. "You're all right, Jamal," she said. I hugged her, right there in front of everyone. That was my thank you. That was my promise to always have her back too. That night, at home, my mom called me into her office. The law books were there as always, but she wasn't the judge. She was my mom. "Jamal," she said, sitting beside me, "I know what you went through, and I know why it hurt so much." She told me how she faced the same looks, the same doubts, the same closed doors. Being who I am, who we are, has never been easy, but that's why we fight. I listened, and for the first time I felt I wasn't just her son. I was part of her story. Our story. School wasn't perfect after that. There were still whispers, still side eyes, but I walked different now. With Maya by my side, laughing loud, her hoop earrings catching the light. With my mom at home, her judge's robe hanging like a reminder of who she was, who I could be. I wasn't just the kid from the video anymore. I was Jamal Carter, son of Angela Carter. And that was enough. If this story moved you, drop a comment with the word justice. Tell me where you're watching from and what time it is there. I want to know how far this truth has traveled. Hit like, subscribe, and share, because stories like ours deserve to be heard. But deep down, I knew this wasn't just my story. It was the story of everyone who's ever had to prove who they are.